Hey everyone, last video we did was on patience. And I feel like for me to actually show you how much patience it takes, I need to show you how long it took me to shoot the burrowing owls. And I think the next video after this will do the eagles. Just to give you an idea, for some people it's easy to hear it and you're like, yep, I know I gotta be patient. But for others, visually seeing it makes it easier for them to see what it takes to do it. Just to go through it a little bit, I spent a little over 2 months after I found the dad and watched and watched. And I pretty much went every day, 3 to 4. I think the longest I was there was like 7 hours. But every day I went back to see the progress. There were a few times I couldn't go. I think I got sick at one point. But at that point, it was okay because there wasn't much going on. And I might have missed a few like really super windy days. They're not out. They'll go out and get food and stuff like that. But for most part, it was pretty much an everyday thing for at least a few hours. So let's hop on the laptop and then I'll show you the pictures that I took during that time. So you see, and it's a lot of pictures, but you'll see the progression from seeing the dad, then seeing the mom, and then seeing the babies, which was amazing. Just to give you an idea of just the type of patience you have to get those shots. So let's hop onto the laptop. So to give you an idea, you can see my screen here. It was a very fruitful spring when it came to finding things. But I was getting rather frustrated because I would find little owls, as you can see in this picture, but they were obscured. And I just really wanted to find an owl that I could photograph and get good pictures of. So the place that I found them is 35 minutes from the house. Can be 45, 50 minutes if the traffic is bad. Luckily during this time, everything was pretty much shut down due to COVID. So there wasn't any traffic, and that was nice. So like an hour travel both ways. It wasn't bad at all. But I had been looking there for at least a week because I was told by a mentor of mine that if you look for the prairie dog holes, there should be a prairie dog that doesn't look like a prairie dog. And one day I drove by and I saw Dad. I saw this little guy. And he was standing way far out, but I was like, oh my God, I think I found finally a burrowing owl's nest. So this day I saw him and he was way out, but I didn't know where the hole was. That was the problem. And the funny thing is, in this picture, you can see him in a hole, and there's a prairie dog there, but that wasn't the hole. That wasn't where the nest was. And it lucked out because the nest actually ended up being very close to the road. The other cool thing, too, is when you're being patient or when you're just out there and shooting, there's a lot of opportunity for other things to pop up. So as you can see, found these beautiful birds. But then I went back the next day and I finally figured out where the hole was. And that was exciting because it was actually really rather close to the road. So I didn't have to worry about it being so far out, even with the 600 or whatever, that I wasn't going to be able to capture really good pictures. But that was really cool too. And on the second day, it looks like this is Dad and he's standing way out there. But this is Mom and she's standing right at the nest. So that was exciting. So then it was spending a lot of time watching them. You get to know them. They become family. It's pretty cool. You know their feeding times. She's in the hole with the little ones, and he's constantly flying back and forth with bugs. And it was really super exciting realizing exactly where the nest is. And you can see her kind of checking me out, looking around, giving me the stank eye. And I think on this same day, this is when he finally started standing right by it. And this is Dad. So here he is, puffing up, having a good time. And then here she is again, sticking her head out. So it was really, really cool. It was a neat experience. And Colorado's funny because we are known for our 300 days of sunlight, no clouds, just beautiful blue skies. But luckily during this time, I was blessed with clouds, so it wasn't so harsh, and I could get some really good pictures with really even light. And this man deserves to nap as much as he can because literally he was barely ever standing. Most of the time he was flying back and forth bringing bugs. And I noticed with that frequency, because of that frequency, there had to be little ones inside. So that's when the wait is. Because I didn't know when they were conceived. They're usually conceived in late April, May, but even those chimes can change. So it was really fun just kind of sitting out there and checking them out and watching them fly. And you see, if you just sit there and spend a lot of time, you can get a lot of good pictures. And here he is, going in out of the nest. There she is. Got some pictures of prairie dogs. That's the other good thing, too, because usually there's not just one animal around. If you look around, there are going to be multiple animals around. Here he is flying to the nest with bugs. I'll show you a picture I got that actually when I was going through these last night to prepare for this, I hadn't even realized I'd gotten. In fact, I'll show it to you now. This is one that I didn't realize I'd gotten, her flying. She was rarely out. She was usually with the kids, but every once in a while she would come out and she'd fly and she'd actually hunt for herself. And I think I also have a couple pictures of her sitting on what I call the twig, but it's like a little tree little thing that it's hard to believe they could hold their weight, but they're actually really light guys. But this is one I was talking about going through last night. Another thing that's good, go back through your pictures. If you take thousands of pictures of something, go back through. Because this was couple years ago, and since then I've taken thousands, hundreds of thousands of more pictures, and it's easy to forget what you've photographed. And I completely forgot about this picture, and I love this picture to death because you can see here he's got food. It's a big old grasshopper, and he's flying to the nest to give to the little ones. But here we go. There she is. In fact, I think this is him coming back and giving her something that he brought. And here he is sitting on the little twig. I call it the twig. And I love pictures like that when he's just kind of observing and checking out. And then here's them together. And then I felt kind of bad because they were having an intimate moment. But as you can see, in love. And they're both of them inside the nest. He had just brought back some dirt. And then just more pictures of her and him. The kisses. I love that picture. Because they nuzzle a lot. And it was really neat, them sitting in front of the nest and just nuzzling and just being a really cute couple. You grow to become attached to these little guys. Any animal that you spend a lot of time photographing, it's a lot of fun. Same place, again, I was frustrated, I told you before I found them, because I was still trying to find a great owl picture. And this is another example this season. There's a great horned owl up in the tree. And the cool thing is that later on, I'll show you a picture where I got their baby, one of their babies. They had 3 babies, and the nest was obscured. It was so hard to see. It was at a weird angle. But I got a picture of one of their babies early in the evening. There's some deer out there. More of Dad just chilling. Found some more birds. But yeah, you spend a lot of time with them. You get to know them. You get to know the area too, and different things you can see. I always love that picture. My man always looks so tired. He was flying so much. She has such pretty eyes. Now, let's see. Some more of the prairie dogs, a bunny rabbit. Him hanging out. But as you can see, when you spend some time and you're patient, you can just get so many really good shots. But on top of that, you also get so many good memories. More of the bunny rabbit. Bunny rabbit. There's Dad. Dad flying back with some dirt in the early evening. There's Mom. Dad. Them flying way out there and hunting, which was cool to watch. Another bird. Let's see. Yep. Another picture of a great horned owl. Now, that would have been a nice picture if the lighting hadn't been so harsh. It seemed like every time the great horned owls that season, I would find them, there would be something amiss, something that made it really hard to get a really good picture of them. And then being bored and just taking a pretty day picture. This is funny. Found another one. I found, if I remember correctly, 5 or 6 great horned owl, and then you can see this is a very young one. Still fluffy, but again, just almost impossible. I also suspected that there was a barn owl in a box set up, and it was. And that one, that was my great miss too. I was really upset. Totally upset. I went for about a week at right before sunrise. So it was super early in the morning. It was super cold. I think it was like 25, 30 degrees. And I've heard that a great time to get them is when they're coming in the morning. And I never was able to capture that one. So that's on my bucket list. Love to get great shots of a barn owl. But yep, there they are during the day and they're sleeping, which was pretty cool. Some cool shots of prairie dog eating. More of the bunny rabbit. Mom and Dad hanging out. Some more random birds, some ducks. Then these 3 crazy guys, which I thought were 4 of them. No, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them. Just being goofy. Dad out hunting and finding big old bugs, bringing them back, then resting. Out together. My favorite stalk. And luckily, I was able to... The stalk was probably about 25 feet away from the nest, and I was able to drive it and get closer. Here's Dad with the bug. Dropping it off. It's funny thinking back. I don't even remember if I ever saw him eating. He was just bringing them back. Oh, there's some bison. There's a little bison. A big boy. This is always one of my favorite pictures. Don't even need fingers. And some cool clouds. The storm was coming in one evening. Here he is sitting on the stalk. This one, when I was able to get closer, I didn't want to mess with him or make him uncomfortable, but I was able to get closer to get better shots of him. Let's see. So it was getting later in the evening. The random bald eagles that were flying above. Oh, yeah, these are the ones where I was able to get much closer to them. I was able to get, but lots of different little shots of him. I always like this one. I like how the leg, the body, and then him turned around. I always love that. Lots of cool shots. Oh, and look, I finally get to see a great horn pretty much unobscured. He was fun. They're such beautiful creatures. Picture of one. So I did get one. Not what I really wanted to get, but you know what? Beggars can't be choosers. It was okay. It was good for me. Here's Mom walking around. Dad. And I think we've probably gone through 1,000 shots already, so you kind of see how you're just sitting there. I did a little road trip up to see my buddy Don because he found a hummingbird building her nest. So these are just pictures of her going back and forth, getting the materials, and building up her nest. So that was a lot of fun. That was in the middle of this. I had forgotten about that. But you can see her with the material and just sitting there building her nest. Pop this a little bit. A little underexposed. There we go. And there she is. And that was cool to see. Hummingbirds, as you know, if you follow me on Instagram, that's my favorite joint. I love photographing hummingbirds. They're pretty special. Pretty neat little birds. So here we go. More of Dad up on the stalk. Love pictures like that. A little deer. And then more pictures of Dad hanging out and then flying and hunting. Way out. Bunny rabbit. Cool backlit shot. Dad about to take off. More little prairie dogs. Dad hunting. Mom outside the nest. And we're getting close to the cool part. We're feeding. Sunning. Deer. Dad giving Mom some food. Dad with a bug. Let's see. I've got to post some of these videos too. A lot of them are handheld. So this was the day. I'll never forget this. So here's Mom out, chilling out. And look what pops up. Finally. One of the first babies. I'll never forget calling my wife and going, "Oh my God, guess what I just saw?" And she's like, "Did a baby pop out of the hole?" And I was like, "Yes, a baby popped out of the hole." So that was a really neat moment because I'd already spent, probably a month there. And I got to see my first little baby burrowing owl. And they're so funny looking at this age. And my wife and I had done some research and we knew that there were going to be more. There had to be more. So the excitement was, okay, so how many burrowing owls are there? And it was cool. Once they started coming out, Mom would go and hang out on the stalk as well. And she was a gorgeous, gorgeous burrowing owl. So here's a little guy. He's pretty cute. Very angry looking little guys at that age. But he's a pretty good looking chap. And then, slowly but surely, we're getting more. So I see two. Here's another one hanging out with mom. And they're the two oldest ones, the two larger ones. So now we have two of them hanging out outside with mom. So that was getting really exciting because we got these two. Another thing, just to bring up, not all your pictures are going to be great. Lighting conditions are going to change, but the more you go, the more probability that you're going to hit at the right freaking time to get great pictures. But if you only go once or twice, that only gives you 2 times to hopefully get. Like I wanted to get a sunrise in Monument Valley, and it took about 6 or 7 times, and I've heard longer. They've been longer for me, where it didn't set up. There weren't any clouds. There were too many clouds. The clouds were funky. The clouds obscured the sun. The clouds didn't hit the sun like there's just so many things that could go wrong. And the same thing here. Like not every day was a perfect day for me to have perfect lighting to get these little guys. But for me, I took the pictures anyway because it's always practice. And the more you practice something, the better you get at it. And I like the little memories. I like looking back at the pictures and going, oh, I remember that day and what could happen. So as you can see, now we have 3. Actually, no. Now we have 4. And I'm calling her. I'm like, oh, my God, they're 4 little babies. And she was like, that's so amazing. She actually came with me a lot to check out these little guys because they were just so neat. And then you notice, hold up, 1, 2, 3, 4. There's a 5th. So now we have 5 little guys. Little guys and gals, I should say. And then there's mom. And it's cool, as they were getting bigger, they were both actively out hunting to feed them because they just started eating a lot. So here we still have 5. And then, is this the one? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, not this one. Let's see. 2, 3, 4. You see all these little fur balls? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We still this is the one. I think 1, 2, 3, 4. Nope, that's still 5. There's a little runt, and he'll make his appearance. So, let me go back. So remember when I sat there and said I had found a nest and I'd shot both parents. You've seen pictures of both parents of the great horned owls, but I knew there were 3 babies inside. Well, this is one of the babies. And he was gorgeous. You can tell, a young, healthy, great horned owl. Just a gorgeous little guy. Just still fluffy. Still has his baby fur. he's just, I love owls. They're kind of cool. Then I got this cool, weird cloud picture while sitting there one day. So here's mom. She's out. Her wings had gotten wet. I think it had rained that day. She's drying her wings off. And then here's mom with the 3 oldest. And let's see, how many here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Some more mom. That was cool. Mom was actually walking really close to the car. The whole time I always stayed in my car. I never got out of the car. This place you drive through to see the animals, so you don't get out of your car, which was great. But I think she got curious one day. I don't know. I felt like she got to know me a little bit, and she walked really, really close to the car just to kind of check me out. So that was cool. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Trying to find the picture where the 6th showed himself. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The littlest one, the runt. That was adorable. I always love these little pictures of them looking at you. The two oldest ones. There are 5 of them. There we go. So, as you can see, up to this point, I'd only seen 5. But then this little guy showed up. So there we have all 6 of them. And that was really cool to see. So we have 6 total in this nest. Here they all are. And it's always funny. You don't want to make noise or scare anything, but it was almost impossible to have all 5 heads looking in the same direction. This is pretty cool. But yep, that's the little one. And it was neat too watching the parents feed, because they would literally bring one back just for him to eat, because he was so small. But yeah, that's pretty much it. As you can see, I sat there for a while and got some pretty cool pictures. And it took a lot of patience, and it took a lot of time outside. Could have been watching Game of Thrones or something, but no. I wanted to see these little ones. These little ones are far more interesting to me than that. And it takes sacrifice to be able to get pictures like this. It takes time. Here's Mom with all 6 of her babies. But in the end, was it 100% worth it? Oh yeah. Yeah. Experiences like this it's what makes life so awesome. There's so many cool things in life. I was going to try to find one. There's one. It was funny watching the little ones, because this isn't far from Denver's airport. They would all be staring up into the sky looking at the planes, and you're just kind of wondering what's going through their head. Are they like, whoa, that's one hell of a big bird up there? But yeah, it was kind of cool, because all their heads are looking up at the sky. And then there's this one that's just kind of looking down like, I don't care about no plane. But anyway, I hope this helps. Next video, I think we're going to do the eagles. That should be fun. Checked out some eagles, and then I've got some other topics to talk about. And also, we'll dive into a little bit of editing, so that'll be a lot of fun. So I hope you find this enjoyable. Like and subscribe if you want, and have a wonderful day.